Alright guys, welcome to another highs and lows breakdown of the pound Japanese yen. We start with the monthly time frame so we could get an idea of what took place last month, so we could plan ahead of what we plan on seeing this current month. Last month closed with an extremely bullish candle, of which we're currently retesting the highs of the previous month around 139 flat. It's important to know that even though this has been an extremely bullish month, we are within a region of strong resistance. So we really need to see the bulls make themselves known throughout this month to break above this area of resistance, find some support, and continue the trend up. For this month, I anticipate us getting some form of retracement into better buy regions, of which we could take some positions up to retest and form new highs. If I drop down to the weekly time frame, right on the weekly time frame, we could see that area of resistance more clearly, where if we could get a retracement somewhere along this candle, find some support, once provided that we stay above 135 flat, I still think that we are still in an uptrend on this pair. If I bring up all my lines or areas of support and resistance that I had from the previous weeks, we could see clearly. I sent this chart at the beginning of the week, right, where I showed that price was currently functioning within this channel. We capitalized on buys from a retest of this trend line and rode waves up into 139 flat. Now, I know that there's just a point for educational purposes, right? This line here, this upward end of the trend line, usually price doesn't necessarily respect a trend line to the T. What price likes to do is look for the next area of resistance closest to the trend line. So the next area of the resistance was 139 flat. So price popped up above the trend line, retested that area, and sold off, right? So now we could actually see a sell-off from this point to better buy positions. And I think one price stays above this level here, which was the most recent low, we would still be in an uptrend. So if you could get some retracement into one of these areas of support, if you see some support being formed, we could catch buys up to retest this high and potentially to create new highs. Now remember, this is the start of a new month, right? So all this price action isn't going to happen with the snap of a finger. It's going to take time. So I do anticipate us seeing some range in price action at around these areas, where price goes up to resistance, sells off from there into some support, and then back up into resistance. So we could see some doji candles forming. It all depends on what the market is attempting to do. So ideally on this player, if we could get some sells at the start of the week into better buy regions, I would take that. So look forward to getting an update from me as to what I anticipate or what I'm seeing in the present moment regarding price. Also to note, because I like to always consider the two sides of the coin. So I just mentioned my bullish bias in terms of sells into better buy regions, of where if we get some support at around any one of these areas, we could see some buys up to retest the high. Conversely, this could also be a double top formation where price is pushing up into this resistance zone and we could see a sell-off. That for me is unlikely, but I mean, we need to prepare for anything, right? If I switch pairs and we could take a look at Euro USD, I know a lot of you trade this pair. We could take a look at it on the monthly time frame to start. Now on the monthly time frame, we've been in this strong downtrend on the monthly time frame for the Euro USD, right? And this has been because of the weakness in the US dollar. But currently we're pushing up into this area of resistance. This is a really strong area of resistance. However, given various fundamental data that I've been taking a look at, I do anticipate us breaking out of this region. Conversely, if we fail to break above this high at around, I'd say 1.2 flat. If we fail to break above 1.2 flat, We could see a sell-off to retest the lows. Conversely, just like JPY, I anticipate us selling off, catching some support at a better buy position. Take some buys up to retest the highs, potentially break out of this downtrend line, retest the downtrend line as support, and continue our trend up. There's been a lot of weakening in the US dollar, so I anticipate that weakness to continue unless we get some form of stimulus. And as I mentioned before, stimulus in terms of stimulus checks, increased monetary policy, increased Fed spending, or reduce in interest rates or anything like that. So I anticipate this trend continuing on EURUSD, and trend meaning this new uptrend that is being formed currently. So if you could get a retracement down into like 1.15 flat, that'll be a really nice area to look at price action to see if we could get some buys up. We could also take a look at Euro Japanese yen. Now, I mentioned a few weeks ago that there has been a shift in trend on this pair. If I remove all my areas of support and resistance, I mentioned that we were in this downtrend, and I saw that price broke out above the downtrend line, retested it as support at around 119.34 thereabout, and we've been riding the wave up to retest the high, and actually we've broken past the high. So that's a really good bullish sign that we are attempting to create a new bullish trend on this pair. If I drop down to the forward time frame to get an idea, I'd bring back my areas of support and resistance on this pair. I sent a chart which was showing that we had another pennant forming, this time on Euro Japanese yen. And this pennant, well, usually with pennants, how I like to play my pennant setups is that I wait for a break out of the pennant or retest of the line of as support or resistance, and catch my buys or sells up or down. On this pair, we got a really nice break and retest on a smaller time frame. I think it was like the hour or the half an hour. Yeah, you can see it's on the hour time frame where we broke. Let me zoom in a bit, get a better idea of this setup. You see here we broke out of the pennant or the area of resistance. We came down, retested it with some pin bars and doji candles, and we've been forming higher highs and higher lows ever since. We went up into 125.20, touched that point to the T, and Sol had a really nice sell-off. The sell-off was worth 65 pips, but I mean, that's for persons with a bit more, who have a bit more aggressive style. Usually in a strong uptrend like this, I really won't suggest that you attempt taking sells at that point, unless like there's a weekly close and you could make a better assessment for next week or something like that. So just like the previous pairs, on this pair I anticipate us pulling back, getting some support at around one of these levels for better buys up. Conversely, if this area of resistance holds and we fail to break above this area of resistance, we could see sells down to retest the lows. So I think we could take a brief look. Ooh, my battery is dying, so let me just try to wrap this up pretty quickly. If you take a look at the pound Australian dollar on the weekly time frame, removing all my areas of support and resistance, looking at this pair, you can see that this formation here is called a morning star, which is a really strong bullish reversal signal. This morning star was formed off of a bullish pin bar, and we've been extremely bullish ever since. What I anticipate for this month is some form of retracement into better buy positions, but given the fundamentals in terms of the Australian dollar has been on a really strong uptrend, and we've head into some resistance, and we could see a sell-off. If that sell-off does happen, we could see a new temporary uptrend on this pair where we could retest at around 1.86 flat. If I bring back my areas of support and resistance, so you guys could get a better idea of the price action that we've been seeing on this pair. I dropped down to the daily time frame. Look at that, really strong bullish price action we've been seeing, where each daily candle has formed a higher low and a higher high. So ideally you could have taken a buy at any one of these lows throughout the week and held your position for the entire week and have been up, and you would have been up a pretty significant amount of pips. So ideally what I anticipate again on this pair is some form of retracement, provided that we stay below 1.84, retracement into one of these regions along this line, of which I guess I'd update you all during the week on. But if we could find some support, like a 50% retracement, and by 50% retracement, what I mean is that this entire move here, if we could retrace 50% of that move, find some support, we could be entering a really nice buy position to continue the uptrend on this pair. So guys, I hope this was helpful. Brief recap what we're looking for in each pair. Pound Japanese yen, I'm looking to get some sales at the beginning of the week to better buy positions. On these buy positions, provided how deep a retracement we get would signify to me how bullish this pair actually is. Same thing on Euro USD, same thing on Euro Japanese yen, and same thing on the pound Australian dollar. I may take a look at a New Zealand dollar pair, because I suspect that we have some news coming out during the week on the New Zealand dollar pairs. So I may take a look at that sometime Tuesday or Wednesday, and I'll update you guys on that. I hope this was helpful. I hope everybody has been successful and paying attention and learning from these videos thus far. So enjoy and have a really good trading week, guys. Bye.